what would have to happen for the Orthodox? We talk about them like they're a unified body, but what would have to happen for the Orthodox for us to come into communion with them? And then from the Catholic point of view, what would have to happen for them to come into communion with us?
Yeah, wow. The Orthodox, from what I know, if we're thinking historically, the very first thing that needs to happen is the filioque needs to come out of the creed. And then I would say that...
Do you think it's problematic that the Eastern Catholics have already done that?
I don't, because I think it's important for us to have one creed, but there's just a historical realism that tells us that there were different creeds, especially before Nicaea. Like the Apostles' Creed, the creeds that were going around that Irenaeus used or Cyril of Jerusalem used, they were not exactly the very same. Even after Chalcedon, the West still used the Apostles' Creed in their catechesis. And then we have the well-known Athanasian Creed. That was widely used by monastics all over the West. So historical realism tells me that it's not a big deal if we have a couple different creeds.
Okay.
So I don't think it's this egregious problem that the Eastern Catholics, that situation exists.
To admit it isn't to deny it.
Right, yeah. But I think the Orthodox, historically speaking, they have assembled synods and confessions detailing why the Latins have come out of the body of Christ. And it all goes back to the filioque, historically. Today people don't feel the pressure of that. They think it's the papacy. They think it's the liberalism. They think it's the liturgy. They think it's... And there are a lot of things that I just don't know how the Orthodox would commune with the American Catholic Church. I just don't see how that would happen. But certainly the filioque, its doctrine will need to be repudiated, I think, by the Catholic Church. There are good theologians in the Orthodox Church, like the late Archbishop of Pergamon, John. He's known as John Zizulis. He was one of the premier theologians of the Orthodox Church in the 20th century. He died recently. Even him, he made great strides to try and find a middle ground on the filioque. And I would say he probably went the farthest you could possibly go from an Orthodox perspective. But his position still condemns the Council of Florence, the way we believe the filioque. So I just don't know how the filioque could stay in the books. Then papal supremacy, the Orthodox went far at the Florentine Council in saying that Christ handed to Peter full power to govern 10 and shepherd the flock, the universal flock. They were willing to accept that. They were willing to accept a lot of things, but they didn't believe it was an immediate jurisdiction. They didn't believe that the Pope had the power of infallibility. Those things would have to go. The Orthodox they're not going to be able to accept that.
Okay.
Then the use of unleavened bread, that may be an issue for some Orthodox, because that was definitely an issue back in the day. Dr. Ed Sichensky, you should have him on. I don't know if you've had him on, but he's one of the best pens in the world of Byzantinology, study of Byzantine Christianity. He's wrote a book. It's called Beards, Azymes, and Purgatory.
What's it called?
I think it's called Beards, Azymes, and Purgatory.
All right.
So he wrote this trilogy on the East-West division. Yep. The first one was on the filioque. It's the go-to source. Then he wrote a book on the papacy. And then he wrote a book on the beards, azymes, which is unleavened versus leavened bread, and then purgatory. So basically he wrote like a trilogy on what is dividing Catholicism and Orthodoxy, and all three are published by Oxford. And he would probably argue that the unleavened bread issue is not necessarily a big, shouldn't be a dividing point today. But then you've got the Palimism, essence and energies, beatific vision. We have dogmatized that we will see the essence of God. Big issue for Palamas, big issue for a lot of Orthodox. We won't see the essence of God. How could you? We are going to experience the energies of God, what surrounds him, not him. Well, it's him, but it gets into a quirky issue with that. So I do think that all those things will have to be peeled back for the Orthodox to say, okay, we're ready. Catholics, I don't think, I mean, we just need them to say they're okay. We've basically accommodated them so much, Filioque, as long as you say through the Son, like, we don't even need more details than that. As long as you don't condemn Florence, as long as you don't condemn Vatican I, Vatican II,
the Immaculate Conception.
We're ready to have you guys back at the dinner table.
I want to tell you about Hallow, which is the #1 downloaded prayer app in the world. It's outstanding. Hallow.com/Matt Fradd. Sign up over there right now and you will get the first 3 months for free. That's like a lot of time. You can decide whether it's useful to you or not, whether it's helpful. If you don't like it, you can always quit. Hallow.com/Matt Fradd. I use it. My family uses it. It's fantastic. There are over 10,000 audio guided prayers, meditations, and music, including my lo-fi. Hallow has been downloaded over 15 million times in 150 different countries. It helps you pray, helps you meditate, helps you sleep better. It helps you build a daily routine and a habit of prayer. There's honestly so much excellent stuff on this app that it's difficult to get through it all. Just go check it out. Hallow.com/Matt Fradd. The link is in the description below. It even has an entire section for kids. So if you're a parent, you could play little Bible stories to them at night. It'll help them pray. Fantastic. Hallow.com/Matt Fradd.